Hello everyone, this here is a Moss Caribbean Breeze. I've had this fan for a little bit. I really like to put it up in my room. It's a pretty cool, pretty neat little fan, but it definitely needs some TLC. I've gotten it balanced pretty well. I've got the control for it too. This blade was bent over, so I had to hammer it down. I mean, this thing was folded over. I don't know how anyone was even able to do that, but you know, it is what it is. It's in pretty rough shape. And the bearings, I believe, are going to need to be replaced. I'll try and put some grease in them, but I've heard that before. It sounds like the bearings are done. So I'm going to see if I can find some bearings for it and then give it a good paint job. I'm not going to worry about painting the top because it's not in that bad a shape, and then I have to remove stickers and whatever. I think I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum Dark Walnut. I think that's going to be pretty close, and I'll probably put a coat of clear on it. It's not going to need to be painted. That's just plastic. It just needs to be clean.
Hear that bearing there? I don't know if that's going to be able to be fixed without being replaced. Testing some paints on the blade. I am going to go with this one because it's the closest, and I have it. Honestly, it just needs to be a shade of shit brown that's pretty close to this. There's that bend there, and I think I've gotten this blade pretty straight. Well, as straight as it's going to be. So, I mean, you know, it's not going to be perfect. So now what I'm going to do, take the down rod off, the capacitor and the canopy, and then we'll start cracking apart the motor. Down rod's out of the way. I'm going to take off these 6 screws, and I believe these nuts on the bottom have to come off as well. All right, so I've gotten it apart here. It appears that it was in kind of a moist environment at one point because there's rust on the rotor and on the stator. This bottom one doesn't feel bad. Doesn't sound bad anyway, but the top one definitely has some crunching noise to it. If I'm going to buy one, I'll probably just go ahead and replace them both. So what I'll do is I'll try and grease the bearings. I don't think that's going to fix the problem. And then I'll just, you know, spin it, see if it makes noise again. And then after that, I'll start, you know, cleaning stuff off and getting ready for paint. Like I said, I'm not going to paint the top. I'm not going to worry about it. Just going to clean it because I don't want to have to take these stickers off and protect them and all that crap. And the paint's going to be close enough to where no one's going to notice, especially since it's the top. But the bottom, blades, and down rod, and maybe I might paint this thing too. I know some of them had brown ones, but I don't like this corroded look like that. Either I'm going to polish this or I'm going to paint it brown. Looks like we got us an NTN. Looks like a 6203. So I'm gonna have to look for that. And I guess while I'm at it, I might as well look for a bottom bearing if it's. And well, I can't see what type of bearing this is because I'm assuming the numbers on the other side. All right, so now I'm gonna work on pulling the bearings. I did end up seeing that there's a code on the bottom of this bearing, so I'm gonna pull it. It makes a little bit of a noise, not as much as the top one, but you know what? I've got it open. I might as well. All right, so this bottom one here is an NTN 6200. I'm gonna look that up and see if I can find a replacement for that one too. So what sucks about this top bearing is that I've got all these wires here that I really can't do too much with. I can't really pull them through the bottom. There's not enough space. So I'm gonna have to find some way that I can get a good clamping surface on this without damaging these wires. So my plan here is I'm gonna take an angle grinder and cut the spacer. And I'm just gonna make a tool so that I won't have to deal with this again next time I have to remove a bearing. So I'm gonna cut that, and then the wires should just fit right through there, and I'll be able to put the top part of the bearing remover on there. This seems like it's working pretty well. I'm about halfway through pulling it off, I'd say. I heard it pop. Coming out, you see I'm not crushing the wires or anything. Yeah, there we go. Oh. All right, here's that little cover. I decided to just polish it, kind of keep it as original as possible. Well, of course, it probably wasn't polished originally, but I'm gonna leave the bare metal look. So I got all the parts painted, and now they're drying. I'm probably gonna have to do another coat or two on these blades, but it got dark. It's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. We'll come back tomorrow, or maybe the next day, and put another coat on. All right, the fan is painted up. At least the motor is. I'm still waiting on the blades to dry and do another coat of clear. So now I'm gonna put the new bearings on the stator, and I'm gonna use a socket to do gently hammer on it until it gets down seated where it's supposed to be. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. right, I got the bearings in. Now I'm gonna put the rest of the fan back together, the motor at least for now. The blades are still drying. So the motor is put all back together now. I'm just waiting for the blades to dry, and I do have to flip them over and paint this little spot I missed, and they'll be ready to put back together.
All right, so here it is, all back together. As you can see, it came out pretty good. Of course, here's the blade that was folded over, so it's never really going to be perfect again. And I think there's a small ding in that blade over there, but this is a worlds better than what it was before. And the paint is actually pretty close to what I was going for. It's a little bit different than the canopy, but it's really not that noticeable. I'm glad that I polished up that piece. It really ties into the little screws down here. I know, once again, I did not paint the top. I probably should have cleaned up those screws, but I didn't. I was really excited to get it back together here. But yeah, I didn't do the top, like I said before, because I didn't want to have to remove those stickers or try and paint around them or whatever. So just left it as is. Anyway, I'll turn it on real quick. And it's like a top. These things are quick and they move a ton of air for being such a small fan. This is definitely in the finger chopper category, being that it's got metal blades and they're not rolled over either. They are just straight up sheet metal blades. And because it has new bearings, it's nice and quiet now. No more rumble. That's all for now. Thank you for watching.